Welcome back to GRL Talks. We are still in full pre-season mode. Season 10 is gone, Season 11 is loading, and today we've got a proper mix of team owners, some returning, some stepping into new roles, and all of them with opinions. Joining me today, we've got Koi, which is team owner of VCAP. We've got Steve, which is a new team owner of Alpine. Kieran, a team owner at McLaren, and IndianGoat from Red Bull as assistant team owner. Today we are talking draft strategies, expectations, and pressures going into season 11 and after yesterday's interviews. So let's see what they've got interesting to say. Let's start quick. Just say your name, team, and one word to describe how you are feeling heading into season 11. Koi?
Um, Confident.
Okay, Stevie?
Cautious.
Kiran?
Hopeful.
And Indian.
Determined.
Okay, so we've got a mix here. Some of you have been here around in GRL for a while. Others are stepping into bigger roles. So, Koi, how how much does previous experience actually help when it comes to owning a team?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps, especially just knowing more of the drivers in the different divisions to be able to get the best picks in each div. I think, you know, having the experience previously, I know I've been out for a little while, but coming back now, um, yeah, I think it definitely helps, get the right picks.
Yeah, obviously. VCAP is a fresh project. How much freedom do you feel compared to established teams like Red Bull, which you owned before?
Yeah, I think when I was at Red Bull, there's the expectation that Red Bull are going to be, the top three fighting for the championship. But with VCARB, it's a bit different. So yeah, I mean, if I can get up there, it would just, be a good accomplishment for VCARB and myself.
Okay, so Stevie, how do you think, what's the key and what it takes to perform better than team owners with experience in that role?
Um, I think everyone's going to have a different way to go about it. But for me, I think putting together a solid team, keeping consistent with keeping up to date with setups, strategies, and just helping out the team as much as possible. I think that'd be the best way.
Okay, and obviously you are a team owner of Alpines, which had ups and downs. What's your main focus for to make sure that the team is stable in season 11?
I want to bring him back to the top, so it's going to be just keep getting consistent points and stop having stupid incidents that's
Okay,
avoidable.
okay, so pretty much the consistency is the main thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and Kuran, is there anything you thought you were prepared for but you actually didn't?
If I'm going to be honest, I wasn't actually prepared to be in the McLaren TP. It kind of came as a surprise.
Okay, so that's definitely a positive surprise. And McLaren obviously has expectations attached. Does that change how you approach decisions?
Not really, because obviously last season I was at Red Bull, and first half of the season didn't really go to plan, as many have seen, and half the lineup, if not more, were gone for poor performances.
Yeah, obviously Red Bull is also a team with a big expectations, especially after Koi and Panda leading the team and fighting at the top. Okay, Indian, do you actually think anything will surprise you or hit you off guard during the season?
I think for us, it's going to be the same as any other team. It's always going to be the draft night because you're always going to have, you're always going to be picking drivers and then you'll have them planned, but then someone can always take them, or you'll have someone in a different division which may not be good.
Okay, and obviously as a ATP at Red Bull, how different you think it is supporting a team as a driver versus leading one?
I think as a driver, all you can do is score points, and that's the best you can do uh, whenever you can. But the difference between leading one, you can always you call the shots. If the driver's not performing maybe as well as you want, you can always get rid of them. Or if you see a driver that's maybe really performing well, you can always take them in.
Okay, and so let's now start talking about the draft night. It always sounds calm until it isn't. So, Koi, obviously you know what you are going to do and how all that works. From your experience, tell us please, what's the most important factor during the draft?
Yeah, I mean, the most important factor I think is preparation. To be honest, I think you need to know the drivers in the divisions and point out, have a list of who you want to get in the divisions for wherever your picks are. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just preparation for the draft is all you can do really as a TP, because your first pick, it might go to somewhere else, and then you've got to choose someone else. But you've always got to have that list of drivers to make sure that you're still getting who you want in your team.
Okay, and if the drivers of your choice are taken do you rather pick a random one or trying to get a second opinion or even do your own quick research?
I think usually I don't want to give too many bits away, but I usually have a list. If I was like fifth pick, I'd at least have 5 drivers on a list that I want to get, so I make sure that I do get one of them. Because you don't want to, have only a couple down, they both go, and then you've got to be scanning the list quickly to get your pick, and it might be a stinker. So yeah, you've got to have the preparation to make sure you get what you want.
Okay, do you think that knowledge of the drivers around in divisions is as important as the plan for a draft?
The knowledge, I think, of the drivers in the division is more important than actually the picks, to be honest, in the draft, because you can have first pick, and if you don't know anyone, um, you know, you don't know who's the best, who's the worst, or who's going to be, consistently racing, consistently fighting for wins. So I think that having the knowledge of the divs is probably the number one thing that you need to know as a TP.
Okay, so Stevie, are you going into the draft with a plan or are you ready to adapt on the fly?
Oh, I'll have a plan in place. I think it'd be silly not to. But obviously, as Koi has said, if someone comes in and snatches up someone of your picks, if the drivers I would have liked to have gone beforehand, it'd have to be off the fly. But I think that's where extensive research and just knowledge of the field would have to come into play, and you can pick someone who still fits what you need for the team.
Okay, and would you rather draft one star driver and build around them or two solid, dependable picks?
I think at this point, I'd rather have 2 solid, dependable picks purely for consistent points. Because even though if you build off one driver, that one driver might get taken out or might not be able to race. And then if your other driver isn't up to that level and sort of the back end of the grid, you're losing out on points that you could have from 2 dependable drivers.
Okay, and Kieran, last draft doesn't really work out for you as we remember what happens through the first half of the season and then during the transfer window when you replace like 80% of your team. Did you learn from that and going to improve or taking a risk again with the same strategy?
To be honest, I let someone else take hold of my draft last season. Obviously, I made a list, but obviously I was away for the Monday that the draft happened. So it kind of didn't go to plan in a sense.
Okay, so you definitely learned to don't let anyone to pick your drivers.
Yeah, obviously now I've my assistant TP Cynthia, so if like a few picks go, obviously I've always got him to turn to, who as we know is back-to-back OCC winner in this league.
Yeah, so there's definitely his opinion will be definitely a valuable one into the draft. So is there any red flag that instantly makes you avoid a driver?
Not really. I'm always willing to give someone a chance if I know a bit about them. For example, last season, Kimi Dekunda at the transfer window, I seen he wasn't really performing. Obviously, I know him from UFTR, the esports organisation, and yeah, brought him in. He believe he got picked up a few points. And Lord, I kept Lorne for the whole season because he was just consistently getting points.
Okay, and Indian, as a ATP, are you going to be active part of a team management and have your say with drivers, or you are discussing all picks with Yalchin?
Yeah, I mean, I'll always try and help where I can. I mean, I'm assistant team owner for a reason. I'm not just going to sit here and let Yeltsin do all the work. I'll help out where I can. In terms of choosing drivers, I think I'll leave it all up to Yeltsin, but I will discuss some possible choices with him, purely because he is still the team owner. It is responsibility to do. So I think that's the best for the team.
Okay, and how confident are you with your in draft strategy? Do you agree with that, or you just think I would do it better on my own?
Me and Yeltsin haven't discussed anything in terms of draft strategy yet. We are going to soon, but I trust Yeltsin. I believe he can make the right choices when it comes to choosing good and consistent drivers for the new season.
Okay, then. So now, looking back at last interview, last episode had everything: hopes, plans, strategies, and plenty of discussions. So, Koi, you and your team with you you and your team with Atom as a ATP has been pointed out also yesterday, claiming that you might be dangerous TP ATP lineup. Does it put extra pressure on you, or you feel other don't know what's coming?
Yeah, I think, well, as obviously Atom being the league owner as well, like you could probably, he knows all the drivers in and out. So I think when I got the list of possible assistant TPs, he was literally the first one that I went to. So yeah, I think other people have, said that it could be the case. With me and him, hopefully we do well together. But obviously we've never worked together. I've never raced with him, so you just got to see how the season goes.
Okay, and as we all know, you and Atom just moved from pad to wheel. Do you think that is going to affect your season and your lineups throughout the season, or you already have a plan for that?
Yeah, me and him are both driving, full-time seats. So yeah, I think depending on how used we both get to Will, like we could be going up through the division, so there might be change within VCARB. But obviously with me and him, we're going to be starting in the lower divs. But as the season goes on, yeah, as I said, depends on sort of how quick we get up to pace on Will, could impact changes throughout the team.
Okay, so that means no one's place in a division above is guaranteed.
I think, well, it depends on results as well. Um, if I've got two drivers in the division above that, they're the strong pair, they're both, fighting in the top, then I don't have a reason to replace either of them. Um, if I have to, if myself or Atom have to move up, say 2 divisions possibly to race, we're willing to prepare, to do that, but I'm not going to replace anyone if they're consistently bringing points to the team.
Okay, that's fair. So, Stevie, we talked yesterday, and obviously one of the topics was Ferrari from last season, and you, as you were ATP at Ferrari last season, alongside Cintium. Now the question is, have you learned the most important things from Cintium last season when you had the chance to? And do you feel an extra pressure due to the fact that you are ATP in OCC winning team?
Um, to be honest, in my opinion, I think Cintium had the hard part. He put the team together. I was then picked as ATP afterwards. But throughout, I saw the way he ran the team, how he was with the drivers, how he was always helpful, giving out setups, strategies, and how in depth he'd go. So I've obviously learned a lot from how he ran Ferrari. But as for added pressure, I don't really think there is much added pressure because I haven't got Cintium sat with me as
Okay.
my ATP.
Okay, and another thing that happened yesterday during the board predictions, one of the team owners also said that you will finish at the bottom of OCC after the season. Does that affect you in any way, or just motivates you to prove them wrong?
I'll just prove them wrong, and it'll be funny when I finish above them.
Okay, sounds like a plan then. Kieran, we talked yesterday about importance of transfer window, and obviously after Red Bull episode, you do have experience with that. Which part of picking drivers is more important, draft or transfer window?
A draft. You don't want to be up because obviously a draft. You pick the drivers. You do your research. You pick them. a transfer window is like just to tweak things to try and better the team. Obviously, in my case, it was tweak the whole team. Don't really want to be doing that again. Don't have a reputation for changing the whole team.
Okay, and Woody obviously as a ex-team owner of McLaren, he will keep an eye on McLaren. But do you plan on staying for longer as the team owner, or is that something you haven't decided yet?
To be fair, at the back end of last season, I was questioning staying on, but I thought I've had 2 seasons. Was it 2 seasons? I believe it was 2 seasons. As TP, and it just wasn't the best. I thought maybe one last dance to go for it and see what happens.
Okay then. So Indian. So Red Bull's name didn't cross team owners' mouths at any point yesterday when predicting either winners or losers for next season. Do you think is that due to them not knowing what you are capable of?
Possibly, yeah. I think we have low expectations due to what happened last season, and it didn't start off with the best for Red Bull, but hopefully this season we can turn that around and hopefully fight for the OCC.
Okay, and in that case, do you think you will be the dark horse going into season 11?
Yeah, I think nothing can be said for sure. That's all I can say, but I'm hoping we can get some good results here for the new
Okay.
season.
Okay, then, so let's talk about the expectations. Yours and everyone's else. So, Koi, as someone with experience to fight at the top of the OCC, is winning the only moment that you will consider as successful, or are you going to be happy with P2 or P3?
I mean, I think for VCARB, as a team, success isn't going to be, well, obviously success is going to be high up for us. I believe the standings as VCARB is the overall second most successful team, in the league throughout the 10 seasons. So I think there's a bit of expectation to do well, but I think if we can, be in the top three is a successful season really for anyone apart from probably Ferrari. I'd say they've got the most pressure to perform again, but yeah, top three would be a good season for us.
Okay, and how patient are you going to be if results didn't come straight away from round one?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's probably going to be me being results, not from round one. So you have the transfer window to bring in different drivers. But as a TP, if there's people that aren't performing, you have to do something about that. With assisting them to make sure that they are getting better results. So you got to provide them with, helpful information, race strategies, setups, etc. But obviously, if it comes to half a season done, eight odd races in, and it's not there, then you have to take some sort of action to possibly replace them.
Okay, so Stevie, what would you call a successful season as a new team owner?
For me, I'm going to be aiming top 5. I don't want to be anything lower than that. I know some people have their doubts, but I mean, Alpine didn't exactly finish well last season, so that's going to have to be a massive turnaround. But for me,
Okay.
top 5 is what I'm aiming for.
Okay, so it's pretty much as Invade as he is also a new team owner and he's also aiming to finish in the top 5. And what would need to happen for you to resign mid-season?
Negative points. I think if you look at what Kieran done last season, he's managed to turn the back end of his season around. So there's no reason to give up just because things aren't going well. So
Okay, so Kieran, let's move over to you. What's the minimum outcome that would make you happy at the end of the season?
So anything better than the previous season for McLaren? I think it was 6th. Don't quote me on that, but anything top 5, top 3, anything in that sort of region. Don't expect to win it, but if I do, it's a massive bonus.
Okay, is there anything you think can still surprise you as a team owner?
Winning the OCC.
Okay, that would be another nice surprise. So, Indian, is there anything pressure to be competitive straight away?
I mean, there's always pressure. You've got 9 other teams competing with you to be, towards the top, so there's always pressure.
Okay, so is ATP something you are planning to do long term or something that have to prepare you for being team owner in the future?
I think it's just preparation for being TO in the future, because I'd like to be TO. It would be nice to lead a team to possibly even be top 3 or even win. So yeah, I think in the future I will sign up as a TO.
Okay then, so before we move to the quickfire questions, I'm gonna ask you about your bold predictions. And again, we're gonna go with the winners and losers at this time. So, Koi, what's your bold predictions before the season started?
Yeah, I think it's a tricky one. I think Ferrari are probably going to have quite a strong season again. So if I, if I was to predict a winner of the season, I'm going to go with Ferrari, just to put some pressure on Lemon, see how he does under pressure. And losers, I'm going to go with Merc. I think
Oh, that
Ted's been saying a lot of stuff recently. So I'll say some stuff back and go with Merc as the losers.
okay then. So, Steve, what's your winners and losers predictions for season 11?
It's difficult to call. I don't think Ferrari will win it. Purely for the fact they've lost a lot of the drivers they had. But I think for me, the winners, I'm gonna have to give it to Coy here. I think he's got the best lineup so far. I think he's got the best chances of winning.
The biggest
And
losers?
I think it's gonna be Aston Martin. Just,
keep the curse on them.
I think that cast. I don't think there's anything else you can say.
Okay then. So, Kieran,
I hate this type of question, I'm going to be honest. Purely because of what drivers they've had pick them so far, I'm going to say VCARB as the biggest winners.
what about the losers?
This is going to sound really like, I'm going to say Merc. I personally think Ted overachieved last season with some of the drivers he had. I think they had 3 of the world champions. Obviously, if one of them's already left and gone to CoyiH in Jay Snowy, if he won the championship. But I don't see. I think Ted overachieved last season at Kick.
Okay, so Indian, what's your predictions for winners and losers?
For winners, I'm gonna have to say VCARB. You have Koi, an experienced TO, and has a lot of time in the team in the league. You also have Atom, who's the owner of the league. He's been here from the start. He has the most experience. He knows the most drivers.
What about losers?
For losers, it's a difficult one, but I'd have to say Invade at Haas.
Okay, so there's definitely some pressure now on Koi to perform well. And okay, so as we are all done with that, so it's time for some quickfire questions, and Indian will be doing them. So I believe everyone knows the rules. 5 quick questions, five quick answers.
Let's go.
And okay, so Who complained more, drivers or admins?
Drivers.
Worst thing driver can say after the race.
I'm leaving the league.
Who do you trust the least with strategy?
Steve.
Would you rather win race or argument in Discord?
Arguments in Discord.
And what's your favorite dish?
Chicken tikka.
Okay, and that wrap up another episode of GRL Talks. We've heard different philosophies, different levels of confidence, and plenty of optimism. Now it's just a matter of seeing how it all plays out once the lights go out in season 11. Big thanks to IndianGoat, Koi, Kieran, and Stevie for joining us. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned because once the season starts, the takers are only going to get hotter. Season 11 is coming and GRL Talks will be right there for every twist.